I think I've heard Fabes talking about the Satan factor, where God had to create his enemy, and then he made his enemy to be the enemy of his children. And then in order to redeem his children from that enemy, he had to kill his own son, so that he his
That's
children from that enemy. These stories, these are fairy tales. Like I always say, how did these gods, develop? They develop out of, the curiosity of man. But the issue is that when these people started asking questions and they weren't getting the answers they wanted, instead of them to keep probing, they had to, like distinguished Abraham will always say, they crystallized. So when they crystallized, they took what they have, where they got to as the boundary. Nobody can go beyond. So they made them, because all of these things, in order to control morality, to control society, they have to establish a moral standard, some standards. In establishing these moral standards, if everybody sees that the moral standards are from within themselves, nobody will respect the other person. So they had to make it up in a way that these moral standards, they are from one supreme being somewhere, so everybody is afraid because nobody knows what to expect or not. So they tell you these things are from the supreme being that is governing all of us in this community. So that's why you have different gods that emanated from different communities. And what Christians and Muslims don't know, the gods they worship, especially those in Africa, emanated from different tribes that are millions of miles, thousands of miles away. Their own, that emanated from within their environment, they've thrown it away, and they have attributed everything to some god that is from somewhere far away, from the Middle East. And these gods are majorly from the Middle East.
Yeah.
The Muslim god is from Saudi Arabia. The Christian god is from the area Israel, but many of these Christians don't even know that the people occupying the land called Israel today, they are not Israelites. That tribe, faded away, totally wiped out.
Wow.
Hello, can you guys still hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
can hear you.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes,
Go
we can
ahead.
hear you.
Go ahead.
So that tribe was totally wiped out. All right. The tribe of Israel doesn't exist anymore. And the Bible promises that they will live forever. They will exist forever. But that tribe is no more. The people that are occupying that land right now as Israelites, they are strangers from different countries that were born in different countries that were moved there with this same Bible. That's one reason we say religion is a major problem, because it was through religion that they moved these people to that land, forced them on the inhabitants of that land as if that is their land. Until today, the crisis in that place is still on, because this one believes that their God gave them the land. This one believes their God gave them the land and all that. So from children to children, the trouble continues. You see that? So, and the black man here, especially our own African people, believe that these people who have built weapons that they are using to fight themselves, believe that the God of these same people is the one protecting them, is the one that is, healing them or doing something for them. And look at the difference between their countries and our country. So there are so many proofs or so many things to dispute the existence of any of such gods, because the origin of these gods, you study them, you discover that these gods are not different from the Ayilala I have in my village,
Shango.
or the Olio I have in my village.
Yes.
It's the same thing, because all these things stem from the man trying to solve his problem. And then when the elite, when they looked at it, how do we control the masses? They have to design, a supernatural beings to put fear in the hearts of these people, so that the morals that they have developed, people can fear them and people can respect them and be locked in, so that they can easily be controlled. Until today, children that are born, they just fit into the program. They don't think outside the box. They just fit into the program. Like many
Wow. It seems we lost
Not
network
that they
there.
really wanted, but they were born into it. And this is the program that controls society. I think I have to stop here for now.
Okay, you are doing a good job there, and it's so terrible. It's so terrible. I wrote something today, and somebody commented on that and said, if there is no God, then we don't have morality. You see, these religious folks that think that morals comes from either Christianity or Islam or any of this religion. They don't know that morality is part of humanity. And when we talk about morality, the people that are really wicked. Now let's take a look now. Let's look at statistic. For instance, National Assembly. How many percent of them are Christians or Muslim? Let's look at the governors. Let's look at the ministers. So when we talk about morality and people think religion bets or helps morals, it's like, are you serious at all? Because I'm telling you, because in our day-to-day activities, let me give you an instance. When I came out of my detention, my wife broke down and I took her for medication, and the hospital she gave birth was the same hospital I took her to. So when we got there, she couldn't breastfeed, so I had to go buy milk for the baby, and I didn't carry the flask. So I begged the woman, the matron, I said, please, could you help me with hot water? Let me give this boy food, because the boy was crying. And she said, no, that will inconvenience her. She only provide hot water for newborn babies, not for people that are on admission. I pleaded with this woman, like, please, it's urgent, I need this thing. The woman said, no. And it's okay, I had to quickly call my younger brother, please, boil water and bring for me. And do you know, the day we were to leave, the woman now sent a nurse to come and tell us we should come for prayer. I'm like, no, this woman know me at all. Now, I needed your help. I came to you. You are a Christian. I came to you, not just a Christian, I'm paying for the service. I came to you for help. You declined. You didn't help me. Now you are calling me for prayer. How do you pray for me? How do I even settle down for that prayer? I told them, you see, you people should not get me angry here. If I want prayer, I know where to go. I'm here for medicine. So you see, when it comes to morality, the so-called Christians are more cruel. They are very cruel. I am not joking. I have heard 1, 2, 3 people tell you, if I want to deal with you, is it because you think I'm a Christian? I'll put Bible aside and I will deal with you. I have seen people take people to police.
They are arresting us.
Yes, they are the one intimidating, harassing people. I went to prison, and the majority of the people in prison, they are either Christians or Muslims. And you ask yourself, who brought them? The same people. So it's very unfortunate when we think that Christianity or religion enhances morality. As a matter of fact, morality is built in humanity. Humanity is the bedpan for morality. Christianity and all these other religions pervert morality. Go ahead.
Yeah, distinguished.
Yes.
To buttress that, before, these religions are just a few thousands of years old. So before these religions, morality was already there. People were moral already, either moral or immoral. So the birth of these religions was to control morality, as in to control it. That's just the thing about religion. They want to sew the same size of cloth for everybody, which doesn't work.
Yes.
It's just like some of us are slim, some people are fat. You now say everybody must wear the same size of cloth because a god somewhere commanded it so. Like even within the Christianity, what they believe as morally right and morally wrong is different. For instance, in Islam, marrying a 13-year-old is morally right.
Yeah.
That their God approves of it. But naturally in society, is it right? Christians, do they concord? Christians do not consent to that. And even within Christianity, what is right and what is wrong is different depending on the denomination and what the founder of that denomination, what he thinks.
The Jew. Do you know?
They say television is devil's box. People threw away their television. Today they have a television station.
Now let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. Do you know? A lady sent a mail to me. I think like last year or 2 years ago. I felt like crying. Her father was working, I think, in one of the military, either Air Force or Navy, one of them. He was in the higher rank. They were living in the quarters. They had everything. But the father belonged to one of these religious churches where they discourage people from using television. And because at one point the father started growing in commitment to the point of leadership.
Yeah.
And they said, you see, the things of the world, you can't be in this position if you are working in the secular. You can't be in this position if you are you are dealing with Satan, people, unbelievers, people that are not born again. Do you know this man resigned from his workplace? I'm not joking. True life story. This man resigned. Yes. The daughter was in a private school. The woman was, they were living a better, beautiful life. This man resigned. The daughter was thrown out of school because they couldn't afford. The mother now started selling petty things to keep the family going. They were thrown out of the quarters, and the man later died. And now years later, the same religious center started accepting some of the things they criticized and demonized. The lady was so angry. She was cursing them. You see, people don't know the danger of this God thing. Families have been destroyed. People, relationship. Do you know how many marriages these people destroyed? How many jobs? You go get a job and they will tell you. I remember somebody got a job and he came and said, Pastor, I got this job, but they said I have to work on Sunday, so I turned it down. Do you know humanity? For me, if I have my way, I will sue God. I will sue anybody that want to represent him, and the person will pay for damages for destroying humanity. Do you know how many? I remember one pastor. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
One pastor.
Yes, we are.
I was a pastor, so most of I will be giving literal examples. These are real life cases. One pastor was bragging how he went all the way to Port Harcourt and took a woman from her family, her matrimonial home, back to Abuja, and was bragging that the husband of the woman is a demon. So, yes, he destroyed the marriage, took the woman from her home back to Abuja. But the same pastor married her. He's enjoying his family. But he called the husband of that woman a demon, broke the home. Yes, destroyed the home. That was how the woman became husbandless. So if you begin to see, and like we said, religion is the opium of the masses. They use this God thing to destroy people. Genesis, sorry, Praise, can I hear your input on this matter?
Okay.
All right.
Sorry. Before Praise say something.
Yes.
Please, if you are currently viewing, you can drop your questions, any question at all you have, or any comments you have about the program, so we can read it live during the course of the program. Mr. Praise, you can continue.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So what I wanted to do is to liken the story in Genesis in the Bible to I want to use a workplace scenario to tell a little story. Now let us imagine that I own a company and I get to keep a confidential document in a place where members of my staff will come across that document. And I am telling members of my staff, nobody should come close to this document, nobody should open it. Common sense should tell me that if I step out, someone must get to tamper with this document. Now, at the end of the day, I get to find out that someone actually tampered with the document. Then I begin to punish that person instead of treating the root cause, which is actually documents in a place
where all members of the staff can access it when I know that this is a confidential document. Now, that aside, in order to avoid, will I say, further chaos in my company, in my organization, what I start to do is, whenever there are issues, instead of treating the root cause, I now start firing members of my staff. You see, this just what happens in the whole book of Genesis.
You're right.
The whole, pardon?
I said you're right. I'm collaborating. You're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, the whole sin scenario, according to the book of Genesis in the Bible, God put a tree which he refers to as the forbidden tree in a public place. Now, remember that this God claims to be the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the ending. He claims to know the ending from the beginning. This same God who claims to know the ending from the beginning, who supposedly should have known that Adam and Eve will tamper with this tree there where he kept it, he still went ahead to keep the tree there, and he told them, do not touch this tree, which they later went ahead to touch, and he began to punish them. Now let us go ahead and check the Bible. According to the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, God actually burned down a whole city in order to curtail sin. That's
That God did vex. He did vex.
The guy lack emotional intelligence.
He like
Who get anger well.
I don't understand.
Conflict.
Things they won't go manage. Not small things they make a vex. I don't just get on.
He just dey buy people anyhow.
He did. He get one place where they talk say in Ago and for. Now somebody say he want go to
Help
hold
am.
him. Help him, make the thing go for. He stand the guy, he kill him. He just kill the guy. He just fight the person. I say, what thing be this? This one not this one not high me.
That guy get
All their gods, guys.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So, in the story of Noah and his ark, God used what he referred to as flood, heavy rain, to destroy a whole nation, and he spared his choice people, including all animals, which according to the Bible's account, they said he spared the male and female of all animals on earth. He didn't achieve what he wanted to achieve by that means. The same God,
Always using wrong formula.
always using wrong formula. I'm telling you.
always using wrong formula. So the same God still went ahead to kill his only son for the same purpose. For the same purpose, he
God.
punished
more. God, man.
Gomorrah. For the same purpose, he used flood to destroy during the days of everything. He keeps on using a wrong strategy. Now, like I said, I'm using a business scenario and I'm trying to put myself as owner of this company. If at all this is my company and this is how I am managing the members of my staff, does that make me a good employer? So when we begin to think around, when we begin to think around this, maybe it will begin to open our minds to what this imaginary God figure can be. Now, the thing is, permit me to be political here. The full meaning of God is actually government of the day, God. G stands for government, O stands for up, and D stands for the day. Now, the government of the day refers to the government of the West, the Western government. And the Western government does not mean well for us blacks, for us Africans. All they care about is themselves, dictatorship, tyranny, anything that is the opposite of democracy. That is what they are up to. And if you get to check the whole storyline of God and how he tried to manage sin in the Bible, you see that it just centers around this whole thing. So I think that's my little contribution. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Anyway,
Fabest, can you read this guy, Toba Joshua? He wrote something here. Can somebody read it out for us, please? Can you say it? Fabest.
Sorry, I muted my mic. I just turned it on. Sorry about that.
Okay, can you see what this is it Toba or Toba Joshua wrote? Or Genesis? Who can see that in? Read it out for us.
I can see it. Let me just go ahead and read it.
Please do.
Toba Joshua, I sincerely hope I got your name right. If I didn't get it, I'm sorry. He wrote, let people know that the whole essence of being human is the ability to use their brains to think. Okay, the brain in individual heads. Okay, individual heads is God. I keep saying good is enough. The God capable of doing good and evil is a scam alert. Okay.
I love that. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's true. A God that does evil and good is actually a scam. Okay. My own view. There is something I want to say.
Yeah.
About all these gods of a thing. If you look at the history or how gods operate, you find out that most of them operate very logically. Like, for example, when that's in the Greek gods, when what was that his name? Zeus. Okay, in history, Zeus is this kind of god that was sex crazed. Okay,
Yeah.
he was after women.
Mm-hmm.
So he had an affair with a woman and gave birth to what's this person called? Is it Hercules? I think it's Hercules. So he gave birth to a son, though. Now, instead of the wife of the god, that's the wife of the god, to punish to punish Zeus, she couldn't punish Zeus. She's now punishing the victim. She's not punishing the son. She's not punishing the son of the son that Zeus had an illegal affair to get.
The product of the affair.
Yes, the product of the affair. So she's not punishing Hercules. I think it's Hercules, or is it Odysseus, or I cannot recall. But then she's not punishing the boy. She's not punishing him for doing nothing. So this trend of victims getting punished in all this religion is actually very, very petty, and it shows lack of good judgment. And again, there's this god again that raped. He raped this person. They call her Medusa. So she was the finest woman. He raped her in the temple of Athena. That's this Greek female god. So he raped her there, and instead of Athena to punish Poseidon, instead of her to punish him, she's now punishing Medusa. She now punished her. She now made her very, very ugly, turned her into a kind of a snake-like woman. So what I'm saying is that if you look at the history of all these gods, you find out that their judgment is always petty, as in it doesn't make sense. Even humans,
it doesn't make sense at all.
Even humans normally cannot, they will not pass that kind of judgment. That kind of judgment is very, very weak and illogical. The victim is not supposed to be punished. The victim is supposed to be vindicated, not punished. But we find out that the victim is always punished, and it's weird. It's really something else.
It's very, very weird. Yeah. It's really weird. There's this guy, Kenneth Paul. There's a question there, and I want us to talk about it. So somebody read it let's talk about it.
Kenneth. Okay,
Yeah.
if you are
No, replying to Simon Abimaje.
Okay.
Simon is asking who created the earth. I think we talked about this yesterday. We
Yes.
talked about this yesterday. We said that the creator of the world is unknown to anybody, dead or alive. Nobody can tell how the world started. Nobody, whether dead or alive. So trying to attribute the creation of the world is a specific being is actually a myopic approach, a very, very myopic approach. What we should do is to keep on trying to find out if at all we are head bent on knowing the genesis of this earth, not trying to cushion the whole argument with one God factor just to shield our ignorance and all of that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one, because it's just like you are a police officer. Yes.
If I may, talk to this guy.
Okay.
This is one thing with Africans, people who don't know anything want to claim they know what they don't even know. Now, you are asking how did the earth come into existence, like you even know. If you knew what you are asking, then yes, we'll not ask you, okay, tell us. Now, if we ask you to tell us, you tell us that your God created the earth. Which of the gods say is Yahweh or Jesus Christ? Now, Yahweh is just a tribal idol of the Jewish people, and Jesus Christ is a cross-cultural Messiah that was created by the Romans to defeat Yahweh and then control the then known world. So these two, that's why you see that the robes of the Pope, the robes of the Anglican churches, all the robes that they wear in Christianity and all that, they are Roman pagan robes that were worn by Roman pagan priests that were converted into the Christian robes and all that. So you see that these religions, the gods, whatever you call God, for instance, the Jesus Christ thing was created from the Son, the Son of God, the Son. When they say Jesus walked on water, it is the Son that walks on water. For instance, in the morning, if you live near the sea, you will see the reflection of the sun on the water, on top of the water, as if walking on top of the water. That is the Son walking on water. So nobody walked on water. All of these allegories were built giving a personality. So there is no God.
Like,
people were worshiping the.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead,
People
please.
were worshiping the sun. People were worshiping the sun, worshiping the moon. They now give them human attributes, which is they can cry. They use it. They call it, allegory. They talk about personification and all that. So they give them human attributes. When the sea is clapping, when you say a multitude of voices, the sea, when the roar of the sea, it will be as if millions of people are clapping when the sea is roaring. So they gave all these phenomena that they could not explain, they gave them human attributes and claimed that they are gods. But today, we know, for instance, in the Bible, they say the mountain smoke when God is angry and all that. But we know the reason why the mountains smoke. We know that there's no God that makes mountains to smoke.
Yeah.
So having known all this, and somebody is here asking this kind of questions, I think the person should be referred to Yaba left. Thank you.
Yes. The guy, the guy is feeling he's insulted, but it's a fact. I always tell people, if you are acting odd, like maybe somebody's, if you are speaking, I'm from Benue State, and you are speaking Yoruba to me, I won't tell you are speaking English. I'll tell you are speaking Yoruba. So if you are acting in a particular manner, you don't expect me to not to address you in that particular manner. We don't paint and pet people here. We call it spade is spade. And like we said, if you feel you can talk, we'll bring you up. Simon, if you want to come up, we bring you up. Come and talk. Do you understand? If you think talking is easy, come and talk. Most of us, we just sit within our keyboard and just press, come and talk. If you have a different view, yes.
I think their problem is this. Now, he asked the question. I typed on the keyboard to answer him. Yet,
Yes.
he insisted. He kept insisting. You know, because to him, he wants to shame us, or he wants to, but you don't even have what it takes. You don't have the knowledge to even, to even prove us wrong or anything. You haven't said anything. You are just insisting on asking, oh, who did? If you say there's no God, so who created the world? You just asking. We told you nobody knows and nobody did, because there's no evidence that anything or anybody created the world. If you have any evidence, bring it up, and then we'll talk about it.
And in research, you don't conclude when you are still researching. It's better to say we don't know yet. We don't know yet. Is better than to crystallize. What the Christians have done is to conclude an investigation before even investigation. So you can't, like I was talking about the instance of a police officer. I think they're acting like the Nigerian police. You have not investigated. You have arrested people. You have jailed them, and now you begin to investigate. So it's crazy. It's crazy. So you can't tell me. Somebody was talking about, okay, you say there is no God. So who created you? And I asked the person, who created God? because you see, when we turn the table around, that is when all of them will begin to be jumping. Who created God?
Yes, and if you look at the thing, before you ask who created me, maybe you might have looked at the world. You look at the whole place, and you find out that the whole place is looking complex and is looking, organized. Is to some extent, though. Yeah. Then you now ask. Then you cannot go ahead and ask me who created all these things. Now, the reason why you're asking is because all of these things are complex, and they couldn't have just come to existence on their own. Well, that's fine. That's cool. Now, let's say it is your God who created the whole thing. Your God too must be complex to have created all these things. So now, who created your God? You understand? The same premise you used, the same reason why you're asking how everything came to be. We also use it for your God too now. You don't understand? It's
this same thing.
Let
me come like
same logic.
Yeah. Now somebody says, when they ask who created you, and you say, my mother gave birth to me, they will not ask who gave birth to your mother, who created your mother, and all that. To get to the point, we will not reply and say, okay, who created God? And they will say God was not created, he's omnipotent, is what they start calling some funny names that were derived from the Hebrew language.
It's impossible.
Now, yes. So now when they are saying that, you now tell them that, okay, if it is possible, the only thing I tell them, I say, if it is possible that a God will manifest and be uncreated and create the world, it is also possible that the world can manifest without being created.
Simple.
Absolutely.
Simple.
Absolutely.
Enough
evolution.
To manifest without being created, because you are just filling the gap. You are just filling the gap without thinking. That's why they call these gods the gap.
Just take the concept of the God, as in just take it out of the equation. Take all the attributes or some of the attributes that you are attributing to that God, fix it on the universe. The universe can exist on its own. In fact, how do we know that the universe, came to be, started to exist? For all we know, it could be eternal, as in it could have been here for, as in there is no beginning, there is no end. So you saying that who created, you have not even come to the conclusion that the universe had a beginning, or there was a point it came into existence. You have not come to that conclusion, and you are now saying who created it. You have to come to the conclusion. You have to agree that the universe started or came to existence at a point.
Yeah.
I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not trying to discredit. I'm not trying to discredit the theory of Big Bang and whatnot. Yeah, the theory of Big Bang is based on evidence and based on
It's
facts
open.
and all.
It's open. It's open.
Yes, yeah, but still, there are so many questions that Big Bang has not yet answered.
Answer.
You
Yeah.
know, how did the
Yeah, yeah.
We
how
are
the singularity came to
still on.
be? You know, yeah, how the singularity came to be was, as in, what happened before the Big Bang? You know, what was in existence before the Big Bang and all those stuff. They are not yet answered. Nobody has answered that yet. So
This is something. One Kenneth Paul Uche, he's saying that in the comments, he's saying that
Yes.
your IQ is not up to that of Albert Einstein, who agreed there's a God. Then you are a real big joker, friend. Now, let me answer him. Let me answer
Please
this
do.
guy.
Yes.
Now,
okay.
that most of these people, that's to tell you they don't study, they don't read. They
They don't
just
read
follow
at all.
Christian apologies, the lies they spew out to them. Now, there is no place that Albert Einstein agreed that there is a God somewhere. Okay? What they claim to be, you know, when scientists have lived and they've died, they manufacture all kinds of claims against them. You know,
Yes. Yes. To
there
control
was the
religious narrative. Yes.
yeah, and when you talk about IQ, what IQ are you talking about? That Albert Einstein developed some things. You know, now the IQ I have right now, if Albert Einstein agreed that there is a God, that means his IQ is lower than mine.
Very, very
Very
Because
low.
I've been able to reach that mark. Okay, if at all they agree. Let me even
Hello.
I actually want something regarding this
an person doesn't
person who
agree
was
that there is a God somewhere. He only presumes that there may be, but we don't know. That is what Einstein said. There may be something somewhere, but we don't know. We can't say. So it's all presumption. Everybody's presuming until we get to that point. But some of
Yes.
us have crossed point of presuming, and we have decided to follow knowledge, and we now understand that if there must be a God for the world to be created, then the world can also be created without a God. The world can
Now,
also manifest without a God. Because the
now,
question still remains, who created that God? How did that God come to be? And even and all of you here, Kenneth Ushe, Prophet Abraham, Eze Okafor, all of you believe that not even the God of your tribe, so you should be ashamed that a God of another tribe is
I'm
one that
telling you.
created the world. And even in the Bible that you believe, that you claim your creation story from, the Bible says that all the materials that were used according to the creation story to create the world existed before God came to create. So where did those materials come from? Which means those materials existed before God. Could it be that it's those materials that created God? Because there was water, and they said the Spirit of God came and moved upon the water. So water was already there, the materials were already there. So where did the materials come from? So my IQ is already higher than that of Einstein, if at all he
Einstein.
believed there was a God somewhere. So you guys should somehow think before you say certain things. Thank you.
Do you know, some years ago, I saw an article of a white man, and he was talking to his son. He said, and he posted the picture of Muhammad Ali, and he said, I will tell my son that Muhammad Ali was a white man. And I coined that article and I wrote about it. And I said, look, if this man or if that man continue with that narrative, in the next 200 years, if care is not taken, everybody will believe that Muhammad Ali was a white man. You see, these people know how to utter narratives. And you see, when this guy talk about Einstein, I feel for him. You see, that is the problem with Christians and religious people. They look for champions. They look for saviors. They look for messiahs. And they place them on a premise that is higher than them. Some of the things we know now, if you bring Einstein here, he will bow. You see,
Yes,
most
of
of the
course.
questions of Einstein, we have answered them. Some of the things that were their concerns, for instance, the GSM we are using, the smartphone, he never witnessed it. He never saw it. The invention, the electric cars, and some of the things we are seeing today. People that lived like 200 years ago, that believe that maybe one day, or maybe some of them even crystallize with that knowledge that, oh man, we have reached the peak. If we wake them up today and they see electric car, they now see most of these innovations. Some of them we bow. If care is not taken, they will think God created them. But they didn't. It is later they will know it's human. Now let me.
Yes.
Elon Musk he said he want to be the first trillionaire or so. He want to build a city in a Mars, and he's working towards that using his spaceship to build a city in a Mars. Whether it is possible or not, imagine it happened, and in the next 300 years you have life in the Mars, and somebody will tell you God created the Mars because human being. He said in the next 30 years you want to successfully take 1 million people to Mars, so you can use maybe spaceship the way you travel to US or travel to China and travel to Mars. And he was in one of his articles, he jokingly said the first religious people should go to Mars now, so that they can turn to build a God there. Do you understand? So religious people, my problem with them, they don't think out of the box. They are not logical. They are not logical, and it is not fair.
Distinguished. Somebody is trying to say something to me.
Yes.
Michael Ode, he's saying that Genesis, Arioma, can you guys insulting your creator begin by changing your names? Now let me answer him. The truth remains that names are cultural. And even my name is Genesis, but the Genesis, you don't even know the meaning. The Genesis means my father gave me that name, Emuhakbo. Emuhakbo means my life has begun. So so that people will understand the name, we had to translate it to English, which is Genesis, which is beginning. My life has begun. And those who wrote the Bible stole that word. That word has nothing to do with any God. It was stolen from a culture, from the English, Genesis. So they stole that word. So that word is even cultural. It has nothing to do with any God. The Bible, those who wrote the Bible stole it. That word has existed before the Bible.
Yeah.
So please try to think before you say certain things.
I actually wanted to
Isaac.
say something.
Sorry, go ahead, Mr.
Go ahead,
Priest.
Mr. Priest. Mr. Priest, go ahead.
It's still regarding the person who was asking about the creation of the world. Something just came to my mind. According to the Genesis account of creation of the world, the Bible recorded that the sun, the moon, the stars were created on the 4th day, if I am not mistaken. I stand to be corrected. I say it again, the stars, the sun, and the moon were created on the 4th day. Now, we all know that the sun is what we use to measure time. It's what we use to measure the day and night, the sun and the moon. Now, if we are saying that the sun, the moon, and the stars were created on the 4th day, what now was the measurement of time, the measurement of day and night, from day 1 to day 3?
You don't scatter this table. You don't grind out to powder.
Praise.
What do we do you? Praise.
This is a serious uppercut now. This is a serious uppercut. Which kind of uppercut be this now? You want to break your jaw? Calm down now.
This Isaac, distinguished. This Isaac. Look at what
It's a nice one though.
Underestimating Einstein.
Yeah.
I don't think you can somehow impactful his discoveries were to our civilization. He's second only to Isaac Newton. And I told him something very simple. I'm telling him, can we now say Einstein is greater than God? Because you want to form a hero, a God out of Einstein. There are people whose discoveries are bigger than that of Einstein. Even what Einstein discovered, there were people who discovered them, but they didn't push them before Einstein.
It's media, the media of their time.
We saw his works. We can identify him. We know that Einstein existed. We saw everything about him. So we should worship Einstein, not God, not even your God.
We have to worship Einstein.
I think we have a God in Nigeria, Olumba. At least that one we saw him. He's even more worthy than their
that
God.
one is better. See, that one is better. If that one promised me something and I fail or it failed, I can go pick him up. I can sue him.
Yeah.
I know his address. I know his address.
Yeah. So I think Mr. Praise wasn't done with what you were saying. I don't know. Maybe.
No,
Okay, that was it. I was expecting more uppercuts now.
Easy. You see, one of our, he has said, small play where we do, praise come, carry him too serious. No, it's true. It's true. Praise carry him too serious because you see, when it comes to religious, either Christian or any of these religious folks, logic do not work. Logic. And it's so surprising. If they go to either a bank to withdraw and they give them money, they count and know the amount, the exact amount. But they use their brain there. But when it comes to, why is it that they are not using their brain? Why?
Sorry, Isaac,
we
did not underestimate Einstein. I think Isaac is a bit angry. He said he's an atheist and agnostic. We did not underestimate Einstein. You know, what we are saying is simple, that if at all any God exists, you know, and all that, Einstein is better than that God. And the truth is, nobody can use Einstein as a standard to judge us, because in his time, he did his best. He did his best in his time. And this is our time. And in our time, we are not way ahead. There are questions Einstein could not answer. We are answering some of those questions today. So you can't say Einstein, this is the hero mentality. We have to drop it. Every human being is unique.
Yes.
And until we begin to tap into the uniqueness of every human being, we fail when we begin to build heroes. That's why we have built non-entities as presidents, as politicians, as pastors, as whatever, because we want that hero mentality.
We celebrate them.
Yes. So that is what we are trying to say.
Do you know, while I was in prison, I read about the history of America. And I discovered that the real hero, it was not even George Washington. I'm telling you, the real hero. But George Washington was the one projected. The real hero are the 53 people or soldiers that signed. The real hero, there's this guy, Leo, and they were the real people that took decisions. They won the war, the real background war. George Washington only went with the soldiers to the army to took the glory. So sometimes people don't know how life works. And one thing people must know is that, look, I am unique, you are unique. And humanity is built on synergy, not individualism. And that is why in Africa, even in the world, I see how people celebrate Donald Trump and I just feel for them. I don't celebrate individuals. I celebrate teamwork. I celebrate synergy. If I see you building synergy, teamwork, and that is why, to be honest with you, if not for religion, somebody like Sunday Adelaja, I love the guy so much. But he, you know, the touch of religion. If not, look at what he did in Ukraine. He built communism, a community. That's what we are talking about. But mention one pastor today, mention one pastor in Nigeria, in Africa, that is not being celebrated. They literally worship. Today we saw a video clip of somebody ordaining somebody and literally kissing the person and all of that. And somebody is telling me about, we are really going, it's so dirty, man.
They worship these pastors because there is no God to worship. That's why they even worship these pastors. If there was any God to worship, nobody will even give such honor to any pastor or anybody.
You're right.
Yes, someone in the comment thread said something. It's actually an uppercut. He said, to be a Christian, you need to first deactivate your brain.
The thing crack. Say that again, please.
Yeah, he said, to be a Christian, you need to first deactivate your brain.
No, it's true. It's true. It's true.
Then Simon Abimaje, he's still crying about this whole thing and saying, so basically your goal as humanists is to make a mockery of those who believe in God.
Okay, somebody asked a question.
Ahmed Samuel.
Hello, distinguished. Ahmed
Ahmed
Samuel.
Samuel.
There's a question there. Can somebody help me read that question? Let's treat it.
Okay, he said, okay, go ahead, Mr. Praise.
All right. I really don't like. I've been following for some time now.
Oh, your voice is cracking.
Pardon?
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think you've answered the question. Is there a God somewhere or not? Not speaking from any religious point of view. How did we come into existence? Forget organized religion or any other religion. Now, this is it. Like I've been mentioning this. So if Mr. Ahmed Samuel, if you've been following since yesterday, even today, I've talked about this like twice, but I'll still say it again for emphasis sake. What we don't know, it is very, very bad to encapsulate it with a belief system that we cannot defend. If anybody tells you that he or she knows the genesis of the existence of the world or of mankind, the person should come up with verifiable proof. Otherwise, what I will say is that all of us, we don't know. Anybody, dead or alive, nobody knows. We are still in the process of finding out. Thank you.
Absolutely.
To speak, distinguish, to answer him a bit. This question is in the lips and the heart of every man. Everybody actually wants to know. So, but we don't know yet. Nobody, like Mr. Praise said, nobody dead or alive knows. So those who wrote Bibles or scriptures or whatever, they wrote based on what they felt or what they assumed. So if you know, you can come up and tell us, but because you don't know, you're asking us, and we have never claimed to know. We have never claimed to know. What we are saying is this, like Mr. Praise said, we should not tag that, we should not plug in that gap. We should leave it open so that we can explore it. Don't tie it close. Don't close the gap with a God that is a very funny God, all these funny gods. Don't close the gap with anything. Not even Big Bang Theory can close that gap.
Yes.
Big Bang Theory cannot close the gap. So
yes.
It's an open gap that we must explore. Like I said, this is one area that humans have failed to explore and find the right answer. We crystallize with whatever we have thought about it. But this is a time to open the gap so that everybody can explore and we will find out. Science has done so much good to find the origin of species and origin of certain things. But science has not yet answered that big question. And nobody has ever answered it up till now. So it's an open gap. We are not claiming to know.
Okay.
Just get it right.
Okay. All right.
Who is saying something again? I want to contribute. Is somebody saying anything so that?
Yeah, I wanted to say something, but then
shall I continue? Ahead.
Yes, go on.
Okay. Now, if you look at studies, we have said this repeatedly, and maybe like they said, repetition enhances retention. So keep repeating ourselves. It is best when you said, "I don't know yet," than to assume. It is just like you went to the hospital and the doctor looked at you and said, "What you are going, your sickness is typhoid," without sending you to the lab to do thorough examination. He just conclude that doctor is not a doctor, should be fired. You may have the symptoms, but as long as you are not, they've not tested you to verify, nobody should assume. In medical, ask any doctor, even if you are dying, they may just stabilize you, then don't assume. Now, if you can do that to a human being, why are you not applying that to the formation of the earth? Why are we assuming? Let me give us an instance. 200 years ago, some of the things that our great-great-great-grandparents either crystallized or said we don't know yet, today the answers are here. If you wake them up today and they see the innovations, the GSM, the tech, the cars, what they will say is wow, 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 wow. So some of the things you think God did, with time you discover it is truly not God but man. But it is best to say we don't know yet. That we said we don't know yet is not to be attributed to any God, because like we said earlier, since the inception of man through birth, we have not seen in any external intervention. Samuel, I want to ask you, since they gave birth to you, I want to ask you, please, is there any day, maybe you heard that you before you got to school, somebody wrote your exam for you and you came out with distinction because you prayed? I am asking Samuel, before you got to school to write your junior WAEC or your whatever WAEC you wrote, before you got there, as you prayed, they just somebody wrote it and you passed. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Oh, your father did not go to work, and because you people prayed in the house, the food that you need for that day was provided, cooked, ready, served, and you guys ate. In the affairs of humanity, we have heard of the First World War, we have heard of the Second World War, and we are not wishing for the Third World War. We have not seen any interference of any external being. It is better to say we don't know yet than to assume, and that is what we are talking about. We are not living the life of assumption. Even if we are assuming, we are assuming with fact in view, fact in view, fact in view. Thank you so much. The next person, you can contribute on that.
Okay, yeah. I'm still going to respond to Mr. Ahmed Samuel. He said, I don't really like to do this, but I've been following for some times now. I don't think you've answered the question, is there a God somewhere or not? Not speaking from any religious point of view, how did we came into existence? Forget organized religion and other religion. The thing is, before this podcast started that's yesterday, we defined the God concept. I mean, we defined the kind of God we are talking about, you know. So we made it clear that the kind of God we are talking about is the mainstream religion kind of God, because those are the ones that are affecting that are affecting the society, you know. So the mainstream kind of God, that's the monotheistic kind of God, where the abstract human attributes and impose it on a particular entity that we cannot see. That's the kind of God we are talking about. You assume that the sun, you want to worship the sun is your God. That's none of our concern. That's not the kind of God we're talking about. Because the question on the flyer, the question we are trying to answer is there a God? If you are worshiping a sun, we cannot dispute that, because sun exists. We can see the sun, so we cannot say anything about that type of God. What we are focused on is the one that mainstream religion is saying, the contemporary organized religion. So you say we should ignore that of organized religion and whatever, forget organized religion or any other kind of religion. I don't think that's the focus of this podcast. So if you have been following yesterday, you understand that we've done justice to the topic, is there a God? And we've defined the God we are talking about. So we've talked about the illogical claims, the inconsistency and contradicting attributes that this God possesses that makes it impossible for them to exist. So this your comment here is talking about a different kind of God entirely, and I don't think this type of God we are talking about exists in any form or shape. So I think I will stop for now. I'll stop here for now.
No. You have hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
There is no, like we said, the human life thrives on knowledge and facts. Knowledge and facts, not assumption. If, as I'm talking to you, you are replying me, so there's a conversation, there's a premise. So if we are talking based on facts and knowledge, and nothing has proved that. Nothing has proven that anybody exists anywhere. So let's stay there. Rehabilitating, I think you just came online. You're welcome, distinguished. How are you doing today?
Oh, fine, sir. Good evening. Actually, my name. Yeah. I'm with you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, I'm fine. Good evening. Actually, my name's Raymond, and thank you guys for still putting it up today.
Okay.
I'm enjoying.
Thank you so much.
My point is that Nigeria is a clear indication that God does not exist.
Yes.
Let me use my country for example. It's a clear indication that God does not exist. Why did I say so? You know, wherever thoughts go, that's where energy goes. And after that, I figure out in life that where there is truth, people doesn't gather.
Maybe he's shouting at the background and it's affecting us. We could maybe if you can manage that a little.
Right. I say where truth is, people doesn't gather there. Where there is truth.
All right.
So if 98% of us are religious, and what we depend on is that the only thing we depend on now in Nigeria is God should come and rescue us. And it's not coming. It's not coming. If you do business for 10 years and there is no return, there is no good profit, I believe you will quit such a business, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
We have been on this religion for over decades upon decades, and we are still hoping on. Does that not look stupid? If God exists and what we depend on or what we keep calling is God to come and rescue us in Nigeria. If you see anybody now, you say, now only God, only God, but still we have not seen the God persisting. Now you go help us. So it's like, that is where our thoughts go. That is where our energy go. Because wherever you put your energy, you should be expecting a lot from it. I think so. Anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
Whatever, most especially when you put heads together, like when we put energy together, we are expecting a lot. We are expecting that's a teamwork. You understand? We should be expecting that, oh, this thing that we are putting our energy should also give us a return back. What we're giving. Because I believe that whatever you put into the universe, that's what the universe is going to give to you. And when the universe is returning back to you, it's going to give you more of it. You understand? Yeah. But in our case, in Nigeria, we keep calling on something that does not exist, and we choose to stay there and keep calling, and he's not responding. Nothing is coming out from it. You understand? So practically, it doesn't exist. There is nothing like that. Nothing like that. No. So that is why I figure out that there is no God.
Are there comments you should read?
Okay, from our guy Abiola Ayinde Olaniyi, I saying well done, sirs. To everyone, Abraham, Nation for best, praise myself. Yes. And then Simon Ebimaje, he's been addressed here that the earth is naturally endowed by nature. Anything nature is not created, stands on its own. And answering
that's a good one.
Question. And now, what the problem in Africa is the fact that we are not taught to think. We are not.
Yeah, we're not taught to think.
We are only taught to pass exams, to read and pass exams, to become slaves to our to the slavers. Because what was we had industry. Our industry was we're doing agriculture, all kinds of agriculture, and you see a family man. Why polygamy was even rampant? The man will have, many wives so that he give birth to children that will help in the farm work. So when they came, they stole our lands, they took the lands with the name of God. They took the lands for themselves in the name of government and this God. And then families had no land anymore. So they created their own kind of jobs. You know, with the Industrial Revolution, they created jobs out of the lands that they stole from these people, meager jobs that pays meager salaries. So families were no longer able to take care of their needs. That had resources have no more resources. And I think Obasanjo finished it all with the Land Use Act and all that, where government takes any land they want, you know, for anything they want. And they allocated lands to churches. You see many allocated lands for things that were useless, and no lands were allocated for agriculture, you know, and all that. I think the only one he did, he took it back, which is the farm at Ota. It was a federal government farm, but it became a personal property on the long run. So you discover that the educational system we have doesn't train us to think. So if you are thinking, it is assumed something is wrong with you. If you are thinking, the general public sees you, something is wrong with you, because a thinking man asks questions outside the box, you know. Like I've seen parents shun their children, try to shut them up. When they ask, for instance, one day your child will come up and say, "Mom and Dad, you gave birth to me?" He said, "Yes." So, how did you give birth? Did you vomit me, or how? As in, and then the next thing you knock him on the head and say, "Shut up, just go and play." You know, the child is inquisitive because he's seeing certain things. Possibly his friends have talked about it, and then he comes to ask, instead of you to use wisdom to help him understand, you will not. So we are not trained to think. And what we are doing, we have to make people think. Like, look at this guy that is consistently asking the same question over and over. It's not as if we have not answered this question about, you know, this God thing. We've answered this question. No. And don't attribute it. Don't fill the gap. Leave the gap open so that we can keep inquiring. So, but they want to close the gap. They don't want to leave the gap open. So they have to plug in something. So they want us to plug in something so that they can say, "Hey, so you said this and all that." Because they want us to be at the same level as them and say, "Oh, we are at the same level," kind of thing. You know. But
let me interject a little. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah. Do you know, as a pastor, one time I was putting up a write-up, and I was talking about most of these drama pastors display, and I say, whose fault? Is it followership fault or leadership fault? And I discovered that most of these followers always put man pressures on their pastor. Even when pastor have nothing to say, they want pastor to say something. So that is what this Isaac is doing now. They want pastor to say. I remember as a pastor, you are not in the mood, and maybe you're already tired, but somebody say, "Pastor, speak on." Yeah. So, or maybe they will say, "Pastor, can you say something? Tell God, who is my wife? Ask God for me. Pastor, I want to know." And they are coming consistently. So pastor will be led to say something, to fill in that gap. And that is what the young man is doing. And if you look at our education, one day we are going to look holistically on education. What they are teaching us here is programming. We are just being programmed how to work for the white, programming. We are not being taught. And we don't create environment that spur critical thinkers thinking. But we are bringing all of that to an end, and very soon they will hear from us. There's nothing they can do. The world is a global village now, and everybody is coming under pressure. Everybody. So there's nothing, nowhere to run to. We must face that reality.
And that's the game changer.
Yes, that's a game changer. There's nothing you can do. You do something. In those days, they were in charge of the print media. They were in charge of the electronic media. Our fathers have to wait till 4 p.m. or 7 p.m. or whatever to listen to news or watch news. They have to edit. But now, with your 5 megabytes or whatever you are pushing up narrative. They can't control. We are now the news. We are now the news. And that is why the Christian and all other religious cycles, they are under pressure. I am telling you, most of them are permanently on my wall, on your wall, looking for faults. Looking for fault.
Sam,
Yeah,
Mr. Abraham, Mr. Abraham, if I have not knew that this so-called God does not exist, from you that have been with them for decades, I would have changed because of, you understand? Because you have been there. It's just like when they caught his renounced, when an armed robber renounced, when a kidnapper renounced, like this is how it was. You understand? You understand? And you just came like this thing is not working. Or it's enough for people to learn.
Many are not ready to learn. Many are not. Very unfortunate.
We just need to unlearn and relearn.
Unlearn, relearn. That's the word. Yeah.
Unlearn and relearn.
Fabest.
So I distinguished.
Yes.
No, Fabest is off. I think Fabest is finding it difficult to join. Maybe you have to.
Okay. Let me drop.
Oh, okay,
So,
man. Thank you so much, man.
Thank
you so much, man.
To bring us back to the God thing, distinguished.
Yes.
I think the issue is that the issue of the gap. So the gap is there, and that gap is what makes us to strive as humans. You know, trying to plug that. So if we close the gap, we begin to diminish, and that's what
absolutely
happens. When you close that gap, you begin to diminish, and our societies are diminishing because they close that gap. And what you close that gap with is very important. Like our society is built on the gods of the gap. For instance, Nigeria is built on our constitution and everything. That's why Hisbah can come up and say private schools should be closed for over a month or so because some people want to pray their God. You know, as in, why can't you do it silently in your houses or somewhere and allow the educational system that we are even managing? It's not even good enough. We are managing it. Then you are still closing it again. And do you know that gap you have created? You are creating more problems for the society.
Yeah.
You see, and that is the reason why we have to take this awareness very seriously and push it. Let people wake up, because when people know that they are not obeying any God anywhere, that it is humans that they are indirectly obeying, they will begin to rebel.
Yes.
And they will begin to use their own minds, because it closes the minds. The God of the gap closes the minds of individuals. It closes their minds so that they don't use their brains, so that they don't use their minds. Because everybody, when you begin to use your mind, you become powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It becomes difficult to control you. That is why animals, you can see, I watched a video, distinguished, of a horse. Somebody wanted to control the horse, and he showed something. After tying the rope around the neck of the horse for a very long time, what did they do? He removed the rope and just did a gesture, you know, with her hands, like, I'm tying the rope now, then and she did as if she's pulling the rope and started moving. The horse just started following, because the horse, that illusion of rope has been created in his head. So the mind just followed, you know, because that thing has been created in his head. So it's not thinking for itself that where is the rope. He's not looking at, you know, he's not seeing the rope, but in his mind, the rope is there. So the rope was removed from the neck and tied to the brain. And that's exactly what they did to our society. And what did they use? This God of the gaps. So the God of the gaps must go for our society to be liberated.
We have said that many times. I like one time I was telling people, I don't talk about politicians. They are not my problem. My problem is religion. Take this away, people will think. We want a society that thinks. We want a society that is built on critical analysis, not society that wake up in the morning. Before we came on live, I was driving. No, I was walking. You know, I saw you off while I was walking, trekking back home. and I was hearing noises, and I was so uncomfortable. I just say, I wish these people understand. Nobody can solve problem like that. Nobody can, nobody has. The earlier we sit up, analyze our problem, approach it well, the better. Like rehabilitating, Mr. Raymond said. You've been, and Praise said that too. You're a manager of a company. You've been running the same style for 10 years, and it is not giving the desired result. Why not change? Why not change? Review. And that's why we are talking about recalibration. Recalibrate. Yeah, I think we should be running off now. So a quick remark. Let's see how we can tie it up. I think we have really done a good job on the God thing, and we even digress and touch other things. So it was a good one. Who is here with me? Praise, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay, a quick closing remark. Let's see how we can round off.
All right. My closing remark will be what I have mentioned before. In a nutshell, I will still reiterate, I will still have to say it again, that man is God to man. Whatever thing that we are looking at outside of mankind in the God figure is inside of mankind. The more we neglect it, is the more we suffer. And the earlier we embrace the fact that man is God to man, is the earlier and the better for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Powerful. Fabest, thank you so much. You are back. We are now on closing remarks. I think we've been up for almost 2 hours now. Very good one. Almost 2 hours now. And I want to celebrate everyone that stayed on with us, using your data, your phone. Honestly, great one. So, Fabest, closing remark, please.
Okay, yeah, I was watching all this while, and I was trying to connect. It wasn't connecting. It seems like Facebook allow for only that's 4 people to connect at a time. So I was trying to connect. Yeah, I was trying to connect. It didn't work. Anyways, it was a good one. I was listening. I was watching, and the other guy rehabilitating. Yeah, I enjoyed his his speech. It was okay. And all right, closing remarks. Okay, everybody who tuned in, I want to appreciate you. I want to, sincerely show my appreciation to you for tuning in and listening and watching and sharing and also commenting as well.
Yeah.
Especially Abiola Ayinde Olainiyi. Okay. And other people that commented and dropped questions. Ahmed Samuel, if you are still watching, I just want to say shout out to you for the comment you dropped earlier. All right, my closing remark, in order to close, I would want to say Secular Advocate is a platform for all secularists, humanists, agnostics. In fact, if you don't do anything religion, you are welcome. You are welcome to join us to promote secularism all over Nigeria. That's the only way we can move forward. If we keep on allowing all these if we keep on allowing religion in our country, we are not going anywhere. We are not just going anywhere. Looking at the political system, religion is there. You come back to school, religion is there. You come back to your life, your own personal life, religion is still there.
Markets.
Everywhere you go is there. I mean, we are not going anywhere. We carry our responsibilities and hand it over to an entity that doesn't exist. It doesn't make sense. So I would admonish everybody who is irreligious to join us, join this movement, join this association, and we are going to go places. Thank you so much, and peace out from here. All right.
Thank you. Distinguished Genesis, your closing remark as we round off.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I think we have sufficiently done justice to the topic. I think we'll now go and get ready for the next one. Oga
Yes.
Clinton Nigeria, but just joining now. We are closing. And to close, I will say that it is time for Africans to wake up. I think this is the puzzle that Africans will solve for the world. And we are the ones to solve this puzzle, to help the
Yes.
world understand that there is no God. Because even in America, the problem is still there, but they've solved it to a level that helped their society to advance. So Africa is not advancing because we have built our lives on faith rather than reason. So government to everything is built on faith rather than reason. So it has made us intellectually lazy. So we channel all our energies to what does not exist. If we channel these energies to what exists, what we can see, what is measurable, what we can account for, what we can produce, what we can do with what is available on earth in us and with us, then we will advance even more than the advanced world and all that. So a lot of Africans have shown capacity, but they've not been supported because our focus is not on those things. An African man is deceived that a God that is so vile, that is so wicked, wants to give you heaven. And you know, a God that himself, if you measure him, he cannot even go to that heaven because he's not qualified based on his acts.
Not quality. It can't even hell is too much. Is too good for him.
Yes, he cannot even make heaven. That God, he cannot even.
Yeah,
This God,
even hell is too good for him.
their character.
What a smackdown.
And they are promising you heaven, you know, and all that. So once we know that there is no heaven to go to, we'll be more focused on building the earth because, like I always say, let me close with this. The world is in chaos because majority of humans don't use their brains. More than 90% of humans don't use their brains. They live on faith, which does not work. So by the time a huge percentage of people start living on their brains and not faith, the world will be a better place. And that's what we are driving at. If you have not joined us, you are missing out. There's so much work to do, and you and I will do it together to help Africa become enlightened and become the light of the world that we want it to be. Thank you all.
Wow, honestly, I am so excited. I want to celebrate everyone, the speakers, everyone, those at the comment section, those that even insulted us. Beautiful. We love you. Thank you so much. Like we said, this platform is for all of us. It's highly inclusive. We are not looking for Messiah. We are saying you are the Messiah. Nobody will solve our problems for us as Africans. It is time for us to come together. And like I used to say, humanity first. Don't put anything first. And that's why when people say seek first the kingdom of God, I say no way. Seek first humanity. If you seek first humanity and see how this life will be a better place, every other thing will be added. And I want to urge everyone, please be part of this community. The WhatsApp link will be dropped. Be part of it, because the truth is that all the religion you see today started somehow, somewhere, the way we are starting. The difference between us and them is ours is built on critical thinking. We have no leader. We synergize, we network. We are all leaders. It's just first among equal. There's no powerful person. We are all powerful. There's no better person. We are all better. So thank you so much. We are happy to have you. We look forward to, host you again in our next segment. We just watch out for our flyers. Thank you, and either good night, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Thank you.